There's great games that take place in the present and future, but there's some pretty awesome games that take place in the time of knights and chivalry. Today, GameRanks brings you the top 10 medieval games of 2016. Number 10, I know this is going to sound weird, but I'm starting off with a sarcastic entry. It's the Totally Accurate Battle Simulator. And this is one of those games that is for people who just absolutely can't take anything seriously, and you know who you are. And while I'm perfectly capable of taking things seriously, holy crap, I love not taking things seriously. You play as one or more single-colored people as you fight in a medieval war where nobody completely moves right. It looks like a ton of fun, and I can't wait to play the alpha. Number 9, Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen, which has finally hit PC, brings all the fast-paced and really smooth action of the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 version to a vastly superior platform. And although it's not really graphically as good as, say, The Witcher 3 or Dark Souls 3, it is easily as fun as either of those titles. In fact, it's sad that it doesn't have the graphics to compete with the other two, because if it did, Capcom would probably have, once again, a huge hit in this very same game. Number 8, Berserk Warriors. Now, whether or not you're a fan of Berserk, I think that this is something that might interest you, especially if you enjoyed Hyrule Warriors or any of the other various Warriors games. Berserk is pretty much the perfect thing for a hack-and-slash game, and ratcheting up the violence in a Warriors game, not gonna be something I complain about. In fact, Berserk Warriors looks to be, in my opinion, probably the coolest looking Warriors game other than Hyrule Warriors, which was my previous favorite. Number 7, Mount and Blade 2 Bannerlord, a prequel to Warband, its predecessor. It actually goes 200 years before Warband, as a matter of fact. The original Mount and Blade didn't really have a lot of money to work with, at least compared to most studio games, but the combat's really good. They've been working on Bannerlord since 2012, and have spent a lot of time ensuring that some of the limitations of the original are not present, and that the game improves upon all of Mount and Blade's original, honestly truly great gameplay elements. Number 6, The Banner Saga 2 is this fantastic, believe me, really enjoyable tactical role-playing game that will conjure up images of Final Fantasy Tactics for some, but has a completely original graphic style. Banner Saga 1 did a really good job of implementing the gameplay, but the Banner Saga 2 does considerably more in giving you greater variety in the game, both in the story and, more importantly, in the combat. The combat system has been expanded upon with more types of enemies and more scenarios that make it, well, frankly, more interesting. And believe it or not, it was developed by 3 people. That they've put out 2 games in this series already and both have been this good, very impressive. Number 5, Skyrim Special Edition. Really, how can you go wrong with this? It's Elder Scrolls. I could probably stop there, but obviously I'm not going to. This is one of the games that has defined the modern role-playing game, and indeed changed pretty much every genre of game in some way since its release. It's gorgeous, and with the new filters and better textures, it's really hard to say that it's not worth another playthrough. Now, it is going to be $60 when it comes out, so I maybe wait a little while when that happens, but I mean, if you got the $60, it's Skyrim. Also, if you have it on PC, it's just a patch that downloads on its own. Number 4, Divinity Original Sin 2 is a sequel to the fantasy role-playing game from Larian Studios that brings a large amount of classic-style RPG action to a more modern and customizable world. The sequel looks to be bringing in a cover system, a skill crafting system, and a new feature called Love and Hate, which will develop relationships like romantic relationships, friendship, and hatred towards characters, as well as a competitive multiplayer mode. If you're into the classic style computer RPG, you really have no excuse not to try this. It comes out in December, and I will be playing it. Number 3, Total War Warhammer basically should have happened a long time ago, but it happened in 2016. 2 great franchises came together, the Total War games and the Warhammer universe have really merged to create possibly one of the better turn-based strategy real-time tactics games out there. If you've played any Total War game, you know that they're very detailed, while at the same time remaining very fun strategy/tactics games. And the Warhammer universe provides the perfect environment to make one of these games in. It's also one of those things that you don't have to describe a whole lot because Total War blank just basically means great new game and worth your time. Number 2, The Witcher 3 Blood and Wine, which manages to completely upend the Witcher 3 formula without actually upending the Witcher 3 formula. It takes you to a new, completely beautiful, colorful, high fantasy world and essentially satirizes high fantasy, while at the same time feeling like if Witcher 3 was high fantasy. At no point does it ever feel out of character because Geralt acts like Geralt, and they manage to play off the satire of high fantasy almost as if it's just a different culture. It's brilliant, and it's extremely enjoyable. And number 1, Dark Souls 3, which borrows some from Bloodborne, but mostly just feels exactly like Dark Souls 3 should, with its difficulty, fluid combat, and extremely dark fantasy setting. This version of Dark Souls, in my opinion, has the best boss fights of all of them. It is so worth playing, even if only for the atmosphere. There's nothing else like Dark Souls, period. And some quick bonus games for you. Knights Fight Medieval Arena, which is a fighting game for iOS and Android. The Black Death, finally a take on the survival genre involving the plague in medieval Europe. Albion Online, an MMO with a player-driven economy, classless characterization, and a world that works across platform. Shards Online, a moddable online sandbox RPG that I have to say very pretty colors about. And finally, Arslan, The Warriors of Legend, a Koei Tecmo game with some truly beautiful anime graphics that hits on some hard themes like slavery and freedom. Which medieval game of 2016 are you looking forward to playing the most? Or if the one that you like happens to already be out, what do you think about it? Would you recommend it to other viewers? Please meet me in the comments. Let's talk about it. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button. And if you're not subscribed, now is a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every single day of the week. And the best way, of course, to see them is a subscription. As always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter @FalconTheHero. And we will see you next time, right here on GameRanks.